Welcome to the Fearful Fright series, where we will be reading with our favorite green ghoul, Grimmer. Now sit back and enjoy this twisted tale. Today our story is called The One Who Knocks in Heat. My name is Garrett Noble, and I have to tell you a very important warning. So the first house burned on a night when the air was too warm for October. Mrs. Calder swore she smelled smoke before the fire started, thin, sharp, like a struck match, but the fire inspector later said there was no electrical fault, no accelerant, no explanation at all. The blaze began in the hallway, right in the center of the house, as if the walls themselves had decided to ignite. She died standing in her bedroom doorway, reaching for a handle that had already melted. After that, people started noticing a pattern. Every house burned had heard the knocking first. Not loud, not urgent. 3 soft taps, always at the front door. By the time anyone looked through the peephole, the porch was empty, except for a strange shimmer in the air, like heat rising off asphalt in summer. They called it paranoia, stress, bad wiring. Until the fires kept coming. I live on Ashwood Lane, a street that shouldn't exist anymore. Half the houses are empty now, charred shells with boarded windows and warning signs. The rest of us stay because we can't afford to leave, or because we're stubborn, or because we don't believe in ghosts. I didn't believe either. Not until the night the temperature in my living room jumped 10 degrees in under a minute. It was just past midnight. I was on the couch, lights off, TV flickering quietly. I remember thinking the heater must have turned on by itself, but the air wasn't warm, it was dry, like it had been baked. Then came the knock. 3 taps. Tap, tap, tap. My heart slammed so hard I felt it in my teeth. I stayed still, listening. The house made its normal nighttime sounds, the fridge humming, pipes ticking, but layered beneath it was something else. A faint crackling, like paper being crushed slowly. I crept to the door and looked through the peephole. At first, there was nothing. Then the darkness shifted. Something stood on my porch, but it wasn't solid. It looked like a man-shaped hole in the air, filled with flame. Not roaring fire, contained fire. Burning inward instead of out. Where its eyes should have been, there were 2 bright embers, staring directly at me. The heat pressed through the door. My skin prickled. The thing raised a hand. And knocked again. I backed away, every instinct screaming. The smoke alarm went off behind me, not from smoke, but from heat. The walls began to creak, wood expanding, complaining. From the hallway, I heard a voice. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. You didn't answer, it said. The words sounded like they were spoken through a furnace, each syllable exhaling sparks. They never do. I grabbed my phone and ran for the back door. The moment I touched the handle, it burned me. I screamed and let go, the skin on my palm blistering instantly. The house was already changing. The paint on the walls bubbled. Picture frames cracked. The air turned gray and heavy. Please, I shouted, not knowing who I was talking to. I didn't do anything. The fire ghost laughed. Not a laugh exactly. More like a sudden flare, a violent whoosh of flame that rattled the windows. You all did, it said. You lived warm while I burned. I learned the truth later, after I survived. Decades ago, Ashwood Lane was built over a worker housing block. There was a fire, faulty gas lines, covered up by developers. 12 people died trapped in their homes. 1 man was seen running door to door, pounding, screaming for help as the flames caught him. No one opened their doors. When the fire department arrived, they found him standing in the street, still burning. He didn't fall. He walked into the fire and disappeared. My house didn't burn that night. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I saw him. Maybe it was because I opened a window and let the heat escape. Maybe he just wasn't finished with me yet. The ghost stepped back from the door. The flames that made up his body dimmed, just a little. I'll come back, he said softly. You'll hear me. Then he vanished, leaving black scorch marks on the porch and the smell of ash in my lungs. 2 weeks later, the house across the street went up in flames. 3 knocks were heard. No one answered. Now every night, I sit awake, sweating no matter how cold it is, listening for the sound that means my time is up. Tap. 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 And the worst part. Sometimes, when I imagine opening the door, I swear I feel relief.